Hello, my name is Uvaldes Maya. These are my audience members. Today I have 6 members. Java, the best programming language for the past 20 years, is about to be dead. Today I'm going to introduce you to the Java killer programming language named Kotlin. For the past 4 years I have been coding, and the coded programming language that I've learned are Java, JavaScript, Python, Swift, and Kotlin. And out of these programming languages, Kotlin is by far my most favorite. In the Air Force, they've recently implemented a program where they will pay their airmen more money if they know how to code. If you ever if you ever want to join this program for the financial benefits, I highly recommend that you start off with Kotlin. So in today's speech, I am going to be talking to you about the need, the satisfaction, and what I'm currently using Kotlin for. So for my first PowerPoint slide, this is a picture of Kotlin versus Java. And on your right-hand side is Kotlin, and on your left-hand side is Java. And basically, these two programs are trying to accomplish the same task. They're basically creating an object, and this object is a person, and they're giving this person a name, and the name is Peter. So if you can see with Kotlin, basically they're given the name, they're calling upon this class named person, which is a storage class. And when they put the name in here, it stores the name of Peter. And later on, they call upon the print operator, and what this does is basically it calls upon this data class and it prints out the name Peter onto a computer screen, phone screen, whatever the case may be. And then over here with Java, it's doing the same exact thing. However, it's having excessive boilerplate code, and this boilerplate code are called setters and getters. So it does the same thing, but when it calls upon the data class person, it has to call upon the setter to set the name so it can store it. And then later on, once you want to print out the name to the computer screen, phone screen, whatever the case may be, you have to get the name from the getter. So that's the downside with Java. As you can see, it has more lines of code versus Kotlin. So back to the topic about boilerplate code. Kotlin reduces boilerplate code by a lot versus Java. And basically what boilerplate code is, we can call it accessor code. So if you want to access certain features in your program, you have to import it using import statements in Java. So for example, if you want to use math operators and say you don't want to use the basic, add, subtract, divide, multiply. You want to get the number pi and multiply that by another number. To access that, you have to use an import statement, and you have to call upon that operator that holds pi. However, with Kotlin, there is no boilerplate code like that. It's all implicitly added behind the scenes. So if you want to access the certain feature like the number of pi, all you do is type the name of the function, dot, type the name of the feature, and it's already there for you. So according to App Developer Magazine, Kotlin cuts the amount of lines of code that you use in your program by 20% versus Java. And what this does, it entails way fewer amount of codes, which is good for all programmers. So on to my second slide. In my second slide, as you can see, these are the top 500 companies that have recently switched from Java to Kotlin. And on this paper, there is Reddit, Lyft, Uber, Expedia, and many others. And basically, they have come to the realization that Kotlin is saving on salary expenses and manpower. And like I said earlier, they're saving on having to type that excessive amount of boilerplate code. So also, Kotlin is 100% interoperable. So with Java, so what this means is depending on the integrated development environment that you use, meaning the place where you type code and debug your program and all that, what this means is, say for example, company X they write applications for their customers, and when they write these applications for their customers, they're using Java code. And say company X recently announces, oh, we're switching to Kotlin. So what this 100% interoperable feature means is instead of the company X having to go back and delete all that old Java code, they can just start writing Kotlin code below that. So that's the beauty of Kotlin is that you don't have to go back and delete old code. You can just start adding the Kotlin code right below uh, the old code that you were using. So Kotlin reduces stress levels and time spent staring at the computer for the reduced amount of lines of code. And on to my third slide. This slide is Kotlin versus Java, the key advantages. So you might not be able to see it from where you're sitting, and I will show you later. But on the Kotlin side, you can see it's more concise, modern, and it's very beginner friendly. However, versus with Java, it's tried and tested. It's been around for almost 20 years. It has more developers on the team and more experienced experts. However, recently I have looked online at a chart that does Kotlin versus Java interests over time, and as Kotlin is getting more popular, Java is declining in popularity. So if you ever decide to build a website, include programming into your Air Force mission, build an app, or code for charitable causes, I highly recommend that you use Kotlin. Kotlin is more fun, it's less time consuming, and it's more effective than Java. Currently, Java has something called a null pointer exception, and basically this has been causing companies to lose billions of dollars. And the way they lose that money is through uh, ad revenue. So what a null pointer exception does is say an app requests you to enter your name or it requests you to give an answer to a certain question. In some apps, in their coding, they forget to add uh, a function where basically you're not allowed to just have nothing in there and press enter. Sometimes when that happens and the user enters, it causes the whole app to crash, not just for the individual, but for every other user on the app and for the developers. So in that time that the app is crashed, those companies are losing ad revenue that they could have made uh, with their app. So if you ever consider programming and you want to get into it, and if when you consider programming, I highly encourage you to use Kotlin. And when you use Kotlin, I highly encourage you to use this book, Head First Kotlin, A Brain-Friendly Guide. It's the only introductory book on the market right now for Kotlin, and I've already completed it, and it is very beginner friendly, and it intuitively makes sense. So if you plan on using Kotlin, I highly encourage you to start off with this book. And then once you're done with this book, you can go to intermediate level and then advanced level. Thank you for listening today.